On today's episode, featured videos include...
Hi there, everyone. Welcome to episode 19 of the Supplemental Broadcast here on Alexandria Alternative Media Broadcasting, an OK Copernicus production. I'm your host, Jess, but you can call me Epitome or BurnKid because I'm EpitomeTheBurnkid. Please be sure to follow the entire archival project, hashtag YouTube Recommended Chronicles on X or Tumblr for the latest videos, music, memes, and more. Listen to the official soundtrack on SoundCloud. And if you're watching me on YouTube, please be sure to find me on Rumble should anything happen to this channel. And also check out all of my wonderful computer animation I've been doing for my music videos while you're at it. Copernican Records, rock on, gotta represent. All links that we will discuss in today's episode can be found below in the description box. And please be sure to subscribe, like, share, follow, and tell a friend about the many things we cover in our program. Just a friendly little reminder, because I tried to film this yesterday, but because of a solar activity, couldn't do it, was too electronically sensitive. When electromagnetic frequency and magnetism goes a little off the chain, this show will have a few breaks for the sake of health. So without further ado, let's go on to today's featured video recommendations. Our first selection features Jordan Peterson interviewing East German-born KGB spy Jack Barsky about how young people were radicalized by communist indoctrination, what it was like to grow up in such an environment, and an inside look at the KGB's infiltration of the American institutions with every intent of our culture's demise. For everyone not in the know, the woke mind virus that has transformed the most recent generations into woke-tards is all a part of the long march through the institutions to capture future generations as laid out in the work of Karl Marx and his contemporaries. For a deep dive into the motives of these communists who have attempted an international revolution throughout the free world, be sure to check out this mind-expanding interview with Jordan Peterson. Now let's move on to a submission from Brylan Riggs, Reactions from a Christian Perspective, in reference to the most terrifying new laws that have come across to go into effect in 2024. Regardless of your personal religious views, I will tell you firsthand that that only the alternative media and faith-based channels are tackling the overt agendas that also happen to be of a highly totalitarian collectivist variety. I think his takes are relatable to many other demographics that happen to share many of the same core societal values that are shared by Christianity and the majority of the Western world. Brylan posts daily with his scripture-based takes on the latest issues impacting us all, so be sure to check him out for more analysis from a more evangelical perspective on different current events going on. In third, we have a Russell Brand's video. It's a soft coup, WHO treaty to enforce vaccines. I'd say calling it a soft coup is quite generous for a bunch of terrorists, whom of which I believe warrants a drone strike, because drone strikes have been done for far less than what the WHO is trying to threaten us with. Same goes for the WEF. You heard me, Davos. You need a drone strike. But anyways, here we are with our next selection, and wow, soft coups. So the WHO Treaty to Enforce Vaccines, this comprehensive installment of the Stay Free podcast is chock full of helpful clips, well-cited sources, and uplifting commentary to help expose the World Health Organization for the international terrorist firm many of us have known them to be for decades. Watch this video to better understand why I believe this heinous bunch should be put on trial for war crimes post-haste, and back up your argument to demand justice and freedom for your nation and fellow countrymen. Because the receipts, I bring them, and the proof is in the pudding. They demand the end of freedom of speech amongst all member nations, including the U.S., U.K., Commonwealth countries, EU, most of Asia, to aid in their depopulation narrative in the name of so-called public health and fighting disinformation for the sake of the children. You and I both know this is not true. Don't fall for this crap. If it's an NGO, They're just unelected officials who want to be the new aristocrats of the time and place us into feudalism, a really sick form of neo-feudalism run by a technocracy. Bleh. All right. Fourth up, Jonathan Cahn is an end times prophet and a messianic Jew with a message regarding Pope Francis' apostasy in his decree of giving blessings after 200 years of upholding the opposite stance that is rooted in Scripture. This is clearly not a critique on LGBTQ rights, but it is a critique on Catholicism furthering its long-held reputation as a false religion. Remember that calling something a false religion is not a matter of one's opinion, but a matter of the practices and doctrine of any religious sect that is in direct conflict with the decrees of their root source material, holy books, dharma, what have you. The Pope went so far in his apostasy to claim that the Ten Commandments are out of date. Yeah, the Pope said the Ten Commandments are out of date. And to search your own personal conscience. Not ask the Lord, search your conscience to decide your new commandments. That's a hoot, right? Let me be super clear that Pope Francis is a member of the World Economic Forum and in cahoots with a bunch of satanic totalitarians, helping them infiltrate and influence the church to encourage deception and depravity throughout congregations with a false blessing from a blasphemous, heretical clergy. Yeah, it went there. It went there, guys. Next, we're going to move on to Novara Media. That's the channel. And the title of this video is The Plan to Privatize Everything. Here's how. So for anyone who has some questions regarding stakeholder capitalism, globalism, and communism's connections to the very prevalent 21st century push to privatize everything, will find this feature from Novara Media most enlightening. Asset management is an investment strategy well explained in this piece, along with its relation to other investment strategies, how governments try to utilize firms to make money through investments, and how this puts unelected private entities above the will of the people when pots happen to commingle funds and interests. This is a very clear, direct discussion that you don't need to be an economist to understand. It's a good one. And last up, our final feature for today's episode comes in from Fascinating TV and features basic overview of the history and origins of the Galactic Federation. If you've been watching the videos linked to past episodes, you have probably come across some transmissions from the Galactic Federation or messages that mention them. This video is another piece of the puzzle that should help fit together coming events and already mentioned events and concepts. Fascinating TV's channel is a great resource for finding out about basic topics pertinent to chosen ones, light workers, and starseeds alike. And that takes us through all of our featured videos and brings me to my favorite part of the show, my auspicious op-ed. I composed some words for everyone. They meant something to me, and I hope that they mean something to you if all it is to inspire you to write some of your own words to share. So let's do this. Let's share some words. It should be very clear to us all at this point into our media adventure that the old must buckle under its own weight for us all to clear out the rubble and start creating anew. I'm very happy to see this year's Davos jaunt-themed Rebuilding Trust prove to be most revealing. I'm still reveling in the karmic blowback from their blatantly offensive rhetoric and reprehensible behaviors, shown as glaringly unsightly as the tone-deaf try to hum those tired leftist tunes that they keep on trying to sing, and they ain't good at singing them. revelations of parasitic narcissism, shameless psychopathy, and antisocial impulses of the mega-moneyed inbred class streamed widely across the internet for all to witness. Those videos should start sprinkling into our supplemental broadcast over the next few editions releases. It will definitely be well evaluated by episode number 30 of our program. If I could ask a favor of you, my wonderful viewing audience, I would ask you to start getting ready for the changing of the guard. To be more exact, we should all be preparing for a major change in cycle or a change in the era. This is what happens when those at the top have infiltrated all institutions, hoarded all wealth and natural resources with the sole intent to enslave the planet through the implementation of a technocratic feudalism or a similar computer-driven totalitarian socialist dystopia quite akin to hell. As much as we have already been through, it's time to get prepared for some serious system overhauls and changes in ways of life from what we have always known are on the horizon. It is an exciting time to be alive, just like the Neolithic becoming the ancient becoming the classical descent to the Dark Ages, then the ascent into the medieval era, further rising through the Renaissance, modern and contemporary eras, and the well-to-do thought they'd just keep on climbing and trick us into transhumanism. They're a funny bunch, aren't they? Real cute. It is so very much time for those corrupt powers that be crumble into the rot supporting their gilding, which means that it is time for all of us to get back to basics because we have no one to rely on but ourselves to maintain, repair, and create the structures we need to survive and thrive as a newly invigorated people. Finally, free of generations of shackles and ill treatment by those who can seem to find no fault in themselves, but plenty in everyone who is not them. Becoming a successful, healthy people requires that we become as independent as possible on resources such as food, shelter, energy, healthcare, and knowledge. It would also be very wise to invest in tools and supplies that do not require electricity, alongside personal electrical backup plans for everyone living on that very faulty grid that has not been maintained well over the past several decades. That's real, guys. They have not taken good care of this grid, okay? Making spaces both online and offline to build community, to help organize ourselves and network to aid us in our challenges to come are essential, considering no man is an island. You cannot just simply rebuild trust after you threaten the entire global population with enslavement, exile via digital execution or worse, or literal depopulation. And these are the primary goals of the unelected officials that our leaders and their subordinates have taken orders from, denying and neglecting their duty to serve the people and the people's best interests per the will of the people, rendering them tyrannical and out of bounds, according to our Constitution, that they view as some obsolete thorn in their sides, it would seem. Elections, mass firings, impeachments, and many other similar political acts is not in any way effective when it comes to righting the wrongs done that we have witnessed. Now is the time for mass civil disobedience, living parallel to society or the 3D matrix, whatever you want to call it, and resettling off-grid in independent, self-formed communities and villages should be seen as the new order of the day. Since you cannot help anyone without helping yourself, definitely be sure to be ready for any emergency that would be imminent in a social or financial collapse as individuals first and foremost. But please remember to keep the community aspect of rebuilding and co-creation at the forefront of your minds as well. Those two matters are the first in embarking on a new era on the new earth, and I look forward to traversing this new ground with all of you as we continue our adventure through the YouTube Recommended Chronicles supplemental broadcast. And that brings us to the end of our show today. I would like to thank everyone for being with me. And yes, once again, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and follow. Today's musical selection is under my project, Hunter Hackz and the Western Pleasures. And the title of this track is The Chill Sophisticate. It's a pretty jazzy one. Please go check that out on SoundCloud. All the links for this episode and more are below in the description box. Please go head over and check out all those videos and everything cool we've got going on. And I'd like to thank you for being with me today. Please stay safe, stay prepped, stay awesome, and please be excellent to one another. And I'll see you next time here on the Supplemental Broadcast. Bye, everyone.